Hey everyone, welcome to the results video of the park entrance mini contest. Now in this round, which lasted, I believe it lasted 6 days, all the players had to build a park entrance. Now this is more difficult than you think it is if you want to do it well, because you'll have to think of things like where do the guests buy their tickets, where do they go after they buy their tickets, is it clear for the guests where to go. Now, really, every park has a different entrance, so there's of course a lot of freedom for the players, but still, every entrance does have common elements. Anyway, there were 34 accepted entries in the end, so yeah, I'll just start with the one that got last place, and then we'll finish with the one that got first place. Okay, in last place we have this entry from Robinio. Now yeah, one thing that I think didn't help is that when the park opens, it immediately starts raining, and there's also no guests in the park, which does make it look quite empty. You can see a few guests entering now. So yeah, when doing a contest like this, I think it's usually a good idea to already have it be a little bit crowded in the park. Now, other than that, I think it's a little bit difficult to see where everyone should be going. Yeah, it's a bit of a chaotic entry, so that's probably why it got last place. Okay, then we have the entry from Just Carl. Well, he already told me he didn't have much time, or well, he was too impatient, and that does kind of show. He tried to recreate the entrance of the Swedish park Liseberg, but yeah, I think it's a little bit unpolished. Yeah, you can see grass everywhere between these paths, and you can see entrance gates here. Yeah, it's all just not very clear what is what. So yeah, probably some polish, some nice details here and there. I think it could have really helped this entry look a lot nicer. Okay, here we have the entry from Savvy Adam. Now, I don't think this is a bad entrance at all. Yeah, here's a ticket gate. Probably it's a little bit too modest, especially when there's such a big entrance gate after it. You could see a bus driving around, or it's actually a tram. If it's a tram, it probably could have used some rails, maybe. I think the thing people were mostly complaining about is, of course, that the park's completely empty when you open it. And not many guests do enter, even when you keep it open. So probably the best thing he could have done was to just add an invisible ride somewhere, and that probably would have attracted a lot of guests to the park. Now, other than that, the trees around it are a little bit spammy. Probably he could have used, some different ground textures here to make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, then we have the entry from Erendust. So yeah, I don't think it's a bad entry at all, but yeah, the walls here, they all feel a bit empty. The guests don't really seem to want to line up here. So yeah, it looks like this hasn't been done very carefully. I see the guests keep trying to walk into these lines from the side. So yeah, probably something went wrong here. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty difficult for the guests to actually get here into the park. Probably some frozen security guards would have probably also looked nice here. I did like these frozen entertainers here. They're called Furry Rights Activist 1, and Furry Rights Activist 2, and Entertainer 3. Okay, then we have the entry from Anda23. I actually kind of like this entry, but probably it could have used some signs here to let the guests know that this is actually the entrance of the park. Maybe some frozen security guards. So yeah, Anda made the park in 1 hour. I think it kind of shows. It's a little bit unpolished. Yeah, these buildings, they probably could have used a little bit more detail. I do like the ticket counters here with the guests queuing in front of them. That's pretty neat. And I also like the colored flowers here. That That looks really cheerful. And of course the big 23 here on top of the entrance, that's also pretty cool. Now he tried to get 23rd place, but I think he has to put a little bit more effort next time if he wants to actually get that place. Okay, then we have the entry from Doomface. Now there's nothing wrong with your monitor. This map just has a very desaturated palette. Now I must say these buildings, they look incredible. I love the way these towers look. So yeah, this is a really great combination, these arches with these mosaic walls from the expansions. Yeah, I also like these knights on top of these buildings here. That's pretty cool. And also these ticket booths here, they also look quite nice. But yeah, of course the palette here is what caused most people to drop their score quite a bit. So yeah, I think this would have been much better even with the normal palette. Let's quickly select it. So yeah, I think this looks much nicer. It's nice and bright here, even though there's a little bit of glitching. But yeah, I think with the normal palette it would have gotten a much higher score. But still, I think it's a great. These buildings are great. Okay, here we have the entry from Joseph Stalin. It's not often that we get entries from celebrities. But yeah, it's clear that Joseph Stalin likes to watch episodes of my Mega Park, because it looks like he copied them from the videos or from the park itself. So yeah, to be fair, yeah, I do like how he put these ticket counters here in the side. Also some toilets here. More toilets here. And then here's the entrance gate to the park. Yeah, I think it's maybe a bit too simple. Although the environment is kind of nice. Yeah, for the trees, it might have been nice if it looked a little bit more dense. And if you're just gonna fill an area with trees anyway, probably it might be worth looking into black tiling a part of the map. Okay, here we have the entry from Biff. Yeah, what? Yeah, personally, I did not really like this entry. Well, first of all, here's the expensive car ticket counter, so I'm assuming there's a parking lot right over here. I'm not really sure how that would work, since there's water over here. Maybe this is just a little pond with the park entrance built all over it. I'm not really sure. Now, so the park entrance is a big building. Well, you usually don't really see that in parks, that you enter the park through a big building. So yeah, there's all these doors here. Yeah, I recommended him to put some signs in front of them, so guests would actually know where to go. But yeah, I actually meant putting signs on the doors, but yeah, he made the choice to put them here. I do kind of like the train going on top of this entrance. And you can also see a part of a coaster here. But yeah, it's let's just call it an unconventional entrance. Alright, then we have the entry from Manticore 007, another celebrity, I guess. So yeah, he made this entrance with these Dutch flags on top. So yeah, I think it looks quite clean. I like the building, I like the guests queuing up here. That's pretty neat. I believe he made an invisible mini golf here, so the guests queue up and then go to the booth here one by one. So yeah, I think that works quite nicely. Might be a little bit slow, but at least it makes for a nice effect where the guests queue and then enter the park slowly. I also really like this fountain. So some nice trees here as well. But sadly, a lot of the park is just path. That's something that's usually best avoided. And that's also why this entry scored lower than it would have if there were some nice other buildings here. Okay, then we have the entry from SwagTitties. Now he made these incredible buildings here. I mean, there's so much detail in here. This main entrance looks really nice. I also really like how he parked this coaster car on top. The guest service building, I also really like the way it looks. All the plants here, they are incredible. So yeah, that's why I'm so sad that he chose to let his guests walk on this part of the map that he black tiled. I think it really breaks the immersion. So yeah, I'm really sad to see that. He probably lost interest or lost time. I don't really know. So yeah, I think it's a shame that it's built like this. He probably would have gotten a much higher score if he just filled his map and just let the guests walk on the area inside the park. Okay, then we have the entry from Dedede. He made this Disneyland-like entrance. So yeah, you can actually see a Disney head in the in these flowers. Also, you enter the park through a tunnel under the railroad. I think that's pretty cool. Here's a big entrance building. What I didn't really like is that he didn't. There's only there's 2 ticket booths, but they're right here at opposite ends. I would have liked it more if they were more visible in the park, or if they were given their own building. Maybe. I do really like these entrance gates. They look like the place on Disney where you get your bags checked, or where you get your tickets checked. So yeah, I actually enjoyed the plants in this entry quite much. It looks really nice. Okay, then we have the entry from Zarathustra. So yeah, he made this big entrance for this park called Infinity Land. Now what I like is how the guests pass by the ticket booth on their way to the entrance. That's a good design choice. Although maybe it is a little bit cramped here. I do like this fountain here in the middle. That looks really nice. I also like the info center here, with the guests also being able to sit down here and have a drink, it looks like. So yeah, and I also like the coaster going around here, looming over the park entrance. I think that's a cool design choice. Kind of reminds me of the entrance to the park Tusenfried, where when you enter, you also see a big coaster right behind the entrance, or Knott's Berry Farm, where you can see the invert. So I think that's a good design choice. I think these, I don't really like these colors though. Maybe a little bit too bright red. Okay, then we have the entry by Energy RCT. Now he made this incredible looking entry for his park called Europa Park. Now, the reason this scored quite low is that he used these what do you call them? These black tiles in his park. I need to, So yeah, he used these black tiles in his park instead of just the black tile palette. Custom scenery objects are not allowed in these competitions. Normally I wouldn't accept this entry, but I missed the fact that he used the custom scenery. So I only found it when the voting had already started. So that's why I decided to simply subtract 1 point. I think it's a shame, because this entry looks quite nice. I really like the trees here, the entrance, the building. I think it looks really good. The ticket booth, maybe a little bit too small for such a big entrance, but yeah, overall I think it's a really good entry. So yeah, it's a shame that he used custom scenery, because it would have scored quite well in the end. Okay, here's the entry from Captain Blackadder. Now, this is also a very unconventional entrance. So you can see some buildings here which are partially flooded. I do like that you can also see the part of the buildings that's underwater. That's quite funny. Well, of course not for the people who own the building, of course. Buildings also look kind of destroyed. Also like this plane that's crashed here with part of the sign broken off. That's probably a good reason to justify. Well, what I mean is that Blackadder wouldn't fit on the sign, so instead he just put the R here. Anyway, so yeah, I guess enter here. Then here's the ticket booths. They're they're not very impressive, I think. And then here the guests actually enter the park through this broken building. So yeah, I think there's lots of cool ideas in this park. But I think yeah, a lot of the park is just water. I think maybe these wooden plank, what are they called? These wooden blocks. Yeah, they look a little bit too clean maybe for such a park. I don't know. Yeah, this probably just could have used more details, especially here on the wooden plank area. But like I said, lots of cool ideas used in this park. Okay, then we get to the entry from Scottish.Novice. She made this beautifully colored entrance. I really like the colors here. Also the buildings, I think they're really nicely decorated. A nice trim around the roofs. Consistent color scheme with the buildings still all being different. So yeah, I think that that works quite well. It's a little playground here. Maybe a little bit too blocky for it. Maybe a bit too solid. But yeah, I do like the way it looks. Here's a little slide, some barrels here, invisible jumping fountains. That's pretty cool. I also like the ticket counters. Not really sold on the rock floor right under here. That's still visible. And yeah, I also like the way the park entrance looks. So great job from Scottish.Novice. Okay, then we have the entry from Xaviru. He's a newcomer. So yeah, he made this entrance where the guests first enter here, then they pass by the ticket counter here, then they have to walk all the way up here, and then here finally is the park entrance where their I guess their tickets get checked here. But yeah, I'm not really sure if it's a good idea to make your ticket counters right here at the bottom, and then only have them have the gate here at the top. Because if guests for some reason forget to buy a ticket, they'll have to walk all the way down again to get it. Yeah, not really sure if that's a good design choice. Oh yeah, so here's also some stairs, which are exit only. I probably would have put the sign right here on top of the door, but I think that's a minor nitpick. I do really like the landscaping in this entry. That at least looks incredible. Okay, here's the entry from Kirill Vasiliv. He made this big castle with these gardens in front. Now, yeah, I do kind of like these gardens, although maybe there's a little bit too much brown here. Some nice little buildings here. Now, what I did not really like was these big signs here saying admission. That probably could have been done in a little bit more subtle way. Also not sure if these wooden roofs go well with the beautiful building that is here. So yeah, probably some improvements could have been made there. But overall, I think this is quite a pleasant entry to look at. Okay, here we have the entry from Adam G. I think this is a nice looking entrance. So yeah, lots of ticket booths here. Looks like this one's out of order. There's a guy walking back and forth frantically here. Yeah, I like how all the guests are queuing here for these ticket booths. That was done quite well. And here's the actual entrance of the park. Yeah, I do think it's a little bit cramped here. Maybe these flowers here in the middle also don't really help. But anyway, also Burger King right here. I like how we put these windows up here. But yeah, they're clearly fake windows because they're held up at the back with these supports. I think that's quite cool. Yeah, here's the actual entrance. I like the way that it looks, also with this trim around it. I probably would have liked to see some signs here, for example, saying fast lane or families or whatever, something like that, or season pass holders. Some indicators for the guests so they know which gate they would have to choose. Okay, here we have the entry from frutiemax. He recreated the entrance from La Ronde. Well, I actually checked the park entrance on Google Street View. I could not recognize everything, but at least I did recognize these little ticket booths right in front of the entrance. And of course there's a huge structure through which the guests pass to enter the park. And of course the real park also has a sculpture here. Oh, I kind of like this entrance. I think the ticket booths, they're done quite well. I like the building that he made for the entrance. I'm not really sure what these things were supposed to represent. I also didn't see them in the real park. But yeah, overall I think it looks really nice. So yeah, a very pleasant entry to look at. Except for some minor glitching here and there. Okay, then we get to the entry from Jag 140. So yeah, it's a beautiful Japanese style castle. I love all these dragonflies flying around it. Also these dragonflies from the expansions. I don't ever see anyone use them, but I think they look great here. So some butterflies here. So yeah, I love all the movement around the plot. These lilies, they're also quite cool. Well, normally they sit in the middle of a tile, but he actually moved them up, or yeah, moved some of them up a little bit just to make it look like they're sitting closer together. I think that's a really cool trick. Yeah, but this actually was not one of my favorite entries. I actually didn't really like it much. Not because of the scenery, because that is beautiful. That's really well done. But because it doesn't really work like a park entrance, in my opinion. I mean, there's a cashier, I think. There's a ticket booth here. But yeah, it's really hidden inside the building. It probably would have been nicer to expose that on the outside and actually have some guests queuing for it, for example. Also, it's really not clear to me what is inside of the park and what is outside of the park. I mean, this could be inside or that. Yeah, I really have no clue what is. And yeah, if your objective is to build a park entrance, that probably should be made clear. So yeah, I did not rate this entry very highly, but like I said, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. Okay, here we have the entry from Skiffa. I think he made the entrance to a zoo. Yeah, you see a big or a zoo or a monkey park. You can see a banana here on top of the entrance. You can see the guests queuing here for the ticket booths. Now, I don't really know where the tickets actually get checked. Also, there's cash machines here on the back of the ticket booth. I don't know why that is. Yeah, Skiffa said he didn't have much time. I do think that kind of shows in stuff like that. But again, the entry does look really nice. I love these little seating areas here inside these monorail walls. And yeah, guests pass through these gates here. And there's actually a monkey walking around here called Dirk Ape. Yeah, I have no clue what Dirk Ape means, or if that's supposed to be named after someone in particular. I'm not sure. I do think this road is quite cool. I like how there's an overpass here over the road. He even made a little detail here, like a gas station built into the side of the road. So yeah, has some this entry has some nice details, but yeah, I don't really see a clear gate where the tickets get checked, and I don't really know why there's these cash machines in the back of the place where the guests buy the tickets. Okay, here we have the entry from greenfieldr. Now I really like this this entrance. So yeah, here you have an entrance that says bag check. You cannot see it from every angle, but yeah, that's something typical of Disney parks. This entry really reminds me of a Disney entrance. Also, first with a bag check, and then after that there's the ticket counters, and after that there's a clear entrance where the tickets get checked. And that's on both sides of the park. I think that's done really well. It's clear for the guests where to go. It's also very typically Disney, very efficient at guiding guests everywhere where they need to go. A big American flag here in the middle. I think this trick here, which he did with the flowers here, is really neat. So yeah, there's these blue and white flowers on the same tile, and somehow he made it so that they are, yeah, so that half of the tile is white and half of the tile is blue. I don't know how he did it, but I think it works well for me here, trying to make the stars of an American flag. Now, I really love this building here on top. The only thing I found weird about this entry was that he blacked out parts on the side and made the buildings hang over it with some supports into the side. So yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. Is there a big cliff side here, or I don't know. It's an interesting design choice, to say the least. Okay, here we have the entry from Nomoz. So yeah, what I like about this entry is actually that he made these paths slope very gently. I believe he did it by copying and pasting paths over each other, and actually putting some of the paths at a half height. So yeah, if we select the path here, yeah, you can actually see there are several paths pasted over each other, and they're at half height, so where you normally would not be able to build paths. Now, of course, that's always a bit risky to have in your park, because guests are terrible at pathfinding through paths which are not actually connected, but which are at half heights. So yeah, it's always a bit risky to play with that. So yeah, here we have a little building with some ticket counters and guest services. And then here's the actual entrance of the park. There's also an exit-only lane here, I see. So yeah, I think this entrance building is quite impressive. I also like how there's a monorail station incorporated in it. That's pretty cool. And there's also a McDonald's here. I think that's a cool pun. Also here on the grass, he copied and pasted some surface tiles right on the slope. I think that's also quite cool, because then you get really gentle slopes in the grass. So yeah, this entry has quite some cool tricks, and I think it's just nice to look at. Maybe it would have been even better if there were some little trees here right next to the path. Okay, here's the entry from Lawrencelot, and this entry has a really funny gimmick, because now you can see it's quite snowy in this town. Lots of blue, snowmen, snowy trees. But then when we rotate the map, it's all desert all of a sudden. So yeah, he used a palette which kind of mixes the blue and the sand color. And then when you look from a different angle, well, yeah, I think he made it just so you can only see these tiles from one angle now when you rotate it. It's done in quite a clever way. Probably also why these buildings have all these weird shapes, just to hide stuff from certain angles. Now, of course, it also means that you probably should not look from this angle or this angle, because then the town just looks really weird. But yeah, the gimmick, I think it's really cool. The park entrance itself, I think it has a really weird shape. So yeah, there's these two ticket booths here. I think they're in quite an awkward location compared to the actual park entrance. When you rotate it, yeah, again, the locations are just a little bit awkward. So yeah, it's a cool gimmick, but I think the park entrance could have been a little bit more clear. But still, yeah, really cool gimmick in this entry. Okay, here's the entry from Phoenix Wing101. She once again went with an Asian theme. That's a bit disappointing to me because we've seen this building several times now. I generally don't like if people go for the same theme every time. The entrance itself, I think it works quite well. So the guests enter here under this torii gate. And here's a big yin-yang pattern on the floor. And here the guests queue up for these ticket counters here. And then here's the actual park entrance, where you have these security guards checking the tickets. So yeah, in that sense, I think this park really does well at the park entrance part. Yeah, there's Dutch flags here on top of these Asian buildings. I think that's a bit pandering to the big amount of Dutch players we have on our Discord, so I actually disliked that. I do like the monorail going around here. There's a neat trick where it reverses direction here and then goes underground and then returns back to the station. If you want to see it in action, you should download this entry and check it out for yourself. It's quite a cool trick. Alright, then we get to the entrance from Gooby. He made this incredible landscape. It's a big waterfall here with a boat on it. It says Whelp. Yep, that's the same thing I would think if I was on this boat. So yeah, people enter the park here. There's even a little parking lot here with a toilet building. Then they cross this bridge. And then here they can buy their tickets at this ticket counter. And here's the entrance of the park where the security guard will check the ticket. So yeah, personally, yeah, I thought it was a little bit weird to have this weird path here to the park entrance. But yeah, everything does make sense, I think. There's yeah, there's a little parking lot here. Yeah, it's just I think it's laid out in a clever way. Now maybe I would have liked to actually see someone mow the grass here a bit. This looks a little bit unkept. But yeah, overall I think this is a nice entry. Also like the little guardrail here in front of the river. The bridge here is nice. There's just lots of cool little things here, and of course the plane going around here. So yeah, overall nice entry. I probably would have hidden these supports here maybe. But yeah, good work. Okay, here we have the entry from Jens J. He made his entry in a very short time. He said he was sweating a lot trying to get this finished in time. I think he did a good job in the end, although it does show that it was made in probably around 1 hour. Because there's a lot of spam of these cactuses and these bushes. Also a lot of the park is black tiled, of course, but that may have been a good choice if the alternative was to have more of this spammed stuff. Now, I really like the look of these buildings. That looks pretty cool. So the guests enter the park here, I think. Then here's the ticket booth. Really big building. I'm not sure why the train is actually on top of this building. I think that's a strange choice. I guess they just wanted to repurpose the lower part of this building. I'm not really sure. And then when they have the ticket, I guess they go through this building that says welcome to actually enter the park. So yeah, like I said, it's a bit spammy, but I think the colors in this map work really well. and I think for a 1 hour entry this is done really well. Okay, then we have a tie for 6th place. This is the entry made by Papaya. I think this is an incredible entry. So yeah, lots of nice little buildings here, all in the Dark Age style. Here we have the park info, ticket booths here to the side. It's probably a little bit too much out of the way. If I entered this park, I think it's easy to miss the ticket counters. Probably right over here would have been a better location. But yeah, the park does look incredible, so I think I can forgive Papaya for that. I like how the ticket counters are worked into this wall with these arches. And it's nice to see the guests queuing in front of them. The park entrance gate also looks nice. I like how it's shaped like a castle, and there's a lot of decoration. You can see some knights walking around the top of the building. Yeah, you can also see some of these horses parked on top. So yeah, lots of little details here in this park. And yeah, that really makes it look very nice. Alright, here's the other entry that got 6th place. Now, you might be wondering, why does this get 6th place? Well, if you look on the other side of this this big dome, you can see it's actually a beautiful garden in here. So yeah, these guests are actually in space here, inside these walkways. You can see also a rocket here. And what I thought was really funny, that guests actually enter this facial ID scan here. It's actually a hidden toilet building, so guests will actually stop inside here. I saw a lot of guests had to pee, so that's probably the reason why so many of them actually stopped inside these buildings. Now, the reason these photo elements here actually flash is because there's an underground roller coaster here, which travels through these photo elements. I think this is a really neat trick, and it's definitely a very unique entry compared to all the others that we have seen so far. So yeah, guests get their facial ID scan here, and then here they can enter through an airlock. Now, guests were not. Players were not actually allowed to have any functional rides, but yeah, I allowed this because this is not a ride like a roller coaster or something. This is really part of the environment. So yeah, this ride is called airlock. So guests enter these cars to get to this side, and here they get out. So yeah, I allowed it. So yeah, you might not agree with it, but I thought this was part of the environment. Anyway, yeah, I also rated this quite highly, mostly because this is a very unique entry. Some really fun choices were made in this entry, so good work. Okay, then we get to the entry from Emiel. He made this really cool entrance here. I really like the look of this entrance building. It has some really nice details. I love how he made the signs on top. Yeah, signs really do really well in parks if you do them nicely. So it's just a nice mix of these walls from the candy set mixed with these wooden walls and then the sign in front. I think that works really well. There's a ticket booth here, and yeah, guests pass by it when they walk to the actual park entrance gate, so it's hard for them to miss. That's probably a good design choice. I like this big green building here. It has a sign, toilets and info. And again, a beautiful sign here in front of the park entrance. There's also a train here. I liked the detail that he put these scrolling signs here with the destinations for the train and the times. So yeah, there's lots of cool details throughout the park. Really nice buildings. And also this part here with the queuing. I think it's done really well. So yeah, I'm happy that this got 5th place. Really great work. Okay, here's the entry from Maxa. He lives in Taiwan, and he made a smaller version of Taipei 101. I believe this is Tower 44, and this actually serves as the entrance for the park. Now here at the lower level, there's actually lots of ticket booths surrounding the building. Well, most of them are actually invisible, but you can still see the queue paths here. And then when guests have bought their tickets, they can walk up here with the stairs, or this path that looks like an escalator. That's pretty cool. And then from there they can enter the park here using this bridge over the road. It's beautifully decorated with these corkscrews. So yeah, I really like the way this looks. This looks fantastic. It's also lots of really nice infrastructure around it. You can see some trains going around here. I also saw some helicopters flying around the building. So yeah, fantastic entry. Yeah, you should definitely download this entry for yourself. There's so many little details here that it's difficult for me to cover everything here. So yeah, go check it out for yourself. It's pretty cool. Okay, then we get to the top 3. This one's in 3rd place. This is the entry from Left-Handed Coffee Mug. Well, first of all, I think this palette is great. It looks like a sunset. Let me see what it's called. Malibu Sunset. That's correct. So yeah, the palette, I think it works great with this entry. I love all these little parked cars here. These ticket booths, they look really nice. He used a monorail train for that. It looks great here, seeing it curved here and with the guests queuing in front, buying their tickets from it. This building is, yeah, it looks really nice. It's executed really well. I love this wall here along the beach. Yeah, that also looks fantastic. And the pier itself, these buildings, they look really nice. Also a seafood shop here, also with a seating area on top where the guests can probably eat some slimy tentacles. Yep, very nice. These flags, I think they also work really well. So yeah, there's lots of little details again in this entry. I think the color palette really finishes it. So yeah, fantastic work. Alright, then we have 2 entries remaining. There's an entry from Mulpje and an entry from Shen Kitchen. So yeah, let's not wait any longer. I will now reveal to you the entry that got 2nd place. And then, of course, we also know who got 1st place. So, the player in this round who got 2nd place is Mulpje. Okay, here you can see the entry that Mulpje made. Now, this looks fantastic. I think I gave it the maximum score myself, and many other people did as well. So yeah, this entrance building, it just looks incredible. This color palette is great. I love this color of brown. Also this stuff here in the middle, it just looks so nice. This looks like a bit of steampunk stuff. So yeah, it looks really nice here on this little island in the middle, surrounded by these beautiful gardens. All these in this mix of tree and flowers. Maybe a little bit too much spam of benches and bins. I probably would have used different benches myself, like these ones. I think they look much better here. Also nicer color of brown. But yeah, that's just my personal preference. Or maybe these, I don't know. Like I said, this building looks incredible. I like that the guests pass by the ticket booths when they head for the entrance. Because they're right here in front of these spots. Yeah, just clear entrance signs here. These towers, they look incredible. I also really like the cog wheels here on top, even though some seem to be rotating the wrong way. But yeah, that's just a little detail. So yeah, fantastic entry. It looks absolutely amazing. Great work. Okay, then we get to the winner of this round. This one was made by Shen Kitchen. Now you may be wondering, why did this entry win? Well, first off, it's just a really good entrance. I mean, these ticket booths, I think they look great, and they're also at a great location, right here in front of the entrance. So guests pass by it when they go through it. I also like this queue area that Shen Kitchen made. It looks really nice. The entrance tower also looks good. I love this coaster car on top. That looks really nice. Also these buildings here, they're also really cool. There's a little gift shop here and a building here called Shen Kitchen. Now the fun stuff actually happens when you rotate the map. So not like this. We have to rotate one further, and then we actually get to a version of the park that's completely abandoned and with the buildings broken down. There's a few survivors, COVID-19 survivors. So yeah, this is a version of the park that has been completely ravaged by the virus, I guess. Or probably the people just abandoned it after most of the population died. Now, all the water has been drained from the fountains, and all the colors have been faded a little bit. And these coaster cars now have plants growing in them, and yeah, these buildings all look a little bit yeah, in shambles. I also like how there's only these survivors walking around and no longer any guests here. So yeah, I think this is a really cool gimmick. Kind of like Lawrencelot used in his entry, but here it's I think it's executed even better. So yeah, it's a great gimmick, and most people gave this a very high score because this was executed so well. So yeah, I think it's a great entrance, and I'm happy that this won the round. Really great work from Shen Kitchen. Okay, those were all 34 entries for the mini park entrance contest. I hope you enjoyed all these entries. We'll start a new mini contest soon, and I hope to see many of you join it again. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you again in the next one. See you later.